Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some really fun battles in the Flying Cup featuring EMOLGA and the Anti-Air Brigade. The Anti-Air Brigade is a theme team consisting of Pokemon that can all hit flying types for super effective damage, which is a pretty useful thing to have in a cup where only flying types are allowed. The team is Shadow Aerodactyl on the lead, Drifblim as the save switch, and EMOLGA as the closer. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the Anti-Air Brigade in action in the Flying Cup. Hopping to the first match, we need Shadow Aerodactyl into Skarmory. I have two better responses in the back, so I will immediately save switch into Drifblim, but my opponent simultaneously switches into Aerodactyl. This is not a great matchup for Drifblim, but I will at the very least be able to get shield advantage. My opponent throws on alignment and I get through an extra hex. You know what? I think I can reach a second Icy Wind, so I shield up, and on very low HP, I'm able to reach the second Icy Wind. That is massive, and we're able to win switch, and that is huge because we have EMOLGA in the back, and EMOLGA absolutely destroys Skarmory. My opponent has an EMOLGA of their own. I'm going to bring in the Aerodactyl, but I will have to shield here. So I will shield up the discharge. They're going to bring back in the Steel Wing Skarmory, but I have the perfect response in EMOLGA. EMOLGA absolutely destroys Skarmory. There's just nothing they can do to hit it for even neutral damage. We are able to get the shield, which is very nice, and even if they do go for the Brave Bird here, which is pretty likely, EMOLGA is able to hang on, and all we have to do is farm up to back-to-back discharges. First one will, of course, be taking down the Skarmory. There is a little bit of lag, and then that second discharge is going to be taking down the opposing EMOLGA, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Shadow Aerodactyl into Altaria. This is a fairly neutral lead. I'm going to stay in, throw one fast move, and then save switch into Drifblim, and we're able to bait out the opponent's Aerodactyl. Baiting out the opponent's Aerodactyl is very nice, because in shielded situations, EMOLGA doesn't have a great matchup overall, since the rock throws do an incredible amount of damage. The threat of a second Icy Wind forces Aerodactyl to empty their energy, which is very nice. Now I can very safely wait out my switch clock and just farm down with my own Aerodactyl. Back in comes Altaria. We're able to hit them for big super effective damage, but the Dragon Breaths are adding up quite a bit as well. I will shield up the Sky Attack because I want to be able to get to a move, and I'm going for the Ancient Power just on the off chance we are able to get the boost. Ancient Power, not able to get the boost. Aerodactyl, not able to farm down. I bring in EMOLGA, and their final Pokemon is Drifblim. So they are very weak in the back to EMOLGA, and we may have a chance. Going for the discharge, and I'm able to get the shield. EMOLGA does survive any one charge move from this health range, but I still will commit the shield just to be safe. Drifblim trying to get to the Shadow Ball, but they're not able to get there. We're able to go for the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt taking them down, and the question is, what move does Altaria have? Just a Sky Attack, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Shadow Aerodactyl into Gyarados. If this Gyarados is running Waterfall, this could be trouble. It is, so I will need to save switch into Drifblim, and the opponent responds with a Gliscor. This is not a good matchup for Gliscor whatsoever. While they do have access to Night Slash, which hits Drifblim for super effective damage, I hit back for double super effective damage with Icy Wind. They go for the Night Slash. I tank that no problem, and now I'm going for Icy Wind number 2. Are they willing to give up that second shield? They are not, and Icy Wind almost one-shots the Gliscor. From here, I'm going to commit the shield, hex down, and take switch advantage, so that way I can align my EMOLGA onto the Gyarados in the endgame. I try and go for a Shadow Ball, but very nice counting by my opponent. They go for the Aqua Tail to deny me of that energy. And now we have EMOLGA on Gyarados. Thundershock out here looking like Volt Switch with the damage it's doing to Gyarados. I will commit the shield on the Aqua Tail. We farm down. What do they have in the back? They have Skarmory, and this game is over. We are going for the discharge. Discharge connects. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping to the next match, leading Shadow Aerodactyl into Shadow Skarmory. Really bad lead. I'm going to immediately save switch into Drifblim, and I am met with EMOLGA. My opponent was slow on the swap, so this should only be a discharge, which I can barely survive. They go for the discharge, and I'm firing back with the Shadow Ball. This will do big damage if it lands, which it does, and we simultaneously KO. That is massive. I'm going to bring back in the Aerodactyl. Hope they bring in their third. They do. It's Shadow Articuno. We farm all the way down. And at this point, this game is over. For some reason, I decided to go for an Ancient Power. Either way, it's not going to make a difference because we have EMOLGA in the back, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, switching Shadow Aerodactyl into the mirror. I'm going to stay in until we both get quite low, and then I'm going to save switch into EMOLGA. We get them very low. EMOLGA trying to snipe. They hold on to the low HP Aerodactyl, and they send in their own EMOLGA. No baits here. Straight for the Thunderbolt. It connects, doing big damage. This discharge will take me out, but the fact that I baited out the Electric type, I feel pretty good about Drifblim closing out this match. So I do decide to let it go, and that immediately proves to be a mistake because they have Steel Wing Skarmory in the back, a Pokemon that EMOLGA does very well against. I am going to go straight Shadow Ball just in case they decide to call it, and I'm able to get the shield. The one thing I have to be mindful of is they still have that low HP Aerodactyl that they could use as a third shield. So I will commit the shield, and then I'm going to overfarm and go for the Shadow Ball, but they're still able to catch anyways. Absolutely heartbreaking. A very nice catch by my opponent. I still do have a lot of energy, so at this point, my win con is full sending the Shadow Ball, hoping they call the bait. They do, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Shadow Aerodactyl into another mirror match. Like last time, I'm going to stay in, get them quite low, and then go for the snipe with EMOLGA, but this time the snipe is successful. Opponent is going to bring in Altaria, which is not the greatest matchup for EMOLGA ever, but Thunderbolt will still hit quite hard, and we're able to get a shield. EMOLGA trying for the discharge, but we're not able to get there before they reach a move. Sky Attack barely doesn't KO, but the Dragon Breath after will. And now, Drifblim has a lot of work ahead of it. We are going to be able to spam out these Icy Winds, doing double super effective damage, but this Altaria is still not in a range where an Icy Wind will KO. I will commit the shield on the Sky Attack. I just need to preserve HP at this point because I still don't know what they have in the back. Reaching Icy Wind number 2, I'm hoping this is going to be enough to take out Altaria, but Altaria is able to hang on and reach a second Sky Attack. So I am forced to give up the final shield, and it's their own EMOLGA in the back. This is very bad. We switch, but we're able to catch the discharge onto Aerodactyl. Maybe we have a chance. Back in comes Drifblim. Drifblim overfarming as much as I can and going for the Shadow Ball. Is this going to be enough damage to take out EMOLGA? It is not. And unfortunately, we are going to lose a heartbreaking game. So close. Hopping to the next match, sending Shadow Aerodactyl into Skarmory. This is a very bad lead, going to need to immediately save switch into Drifblim, and the opponent responds with a Shadow Zapdos, an incredibly cool pick. At the very least, I can get shield advantage here, which is very nice. Going for the Icy Wind, and I'm able to get the shield. Zapdos farming up a ton of energy, and they go for a move just before I reach the second Icy Wind. They do go for the Thunderbolt, and Thunderbolt will KO. I'm hoping I can farm down before they reach a second Thunderbolt. It's going to be very close, but we're not able to do so. They reach Thunderbolt number 2, and you know what? I'm going to put my faith in EMOLGA. EMOLGA with an energy lead and shield advantage can be incredibly deadly. They bring in the Skarmory, basically realizing it has no play here. I'm going for the Thunderbolt, but they commit the shield. And suddenly, I'm thinking that they may be weak to an EMOLGA with an energy lead in the back. So I will shield up the Sky Attack, and they have their own EMOLGA in the back. We can very easily two-shot here with Discharge, so I will go for Discharge, and that ends up being a CMP tie. So just to play things safe, I will throw 4 Thundershocks, and then go for the Discharge. This is one before they reach that second move. This will be taking out the EMOLGA, and now with that extra energy, we are going to be able to outpace the Skarmory and reach the Thunderbolt. And don't look now, EMOLGA just 1v3 to team, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, going up against one of my moderators, Firestar 7-3. Picking up a pretty neutral lead Shadow Aerodactyl into Altaria. Altaria is going to be able to reach a move first. I will commit the shield so I can get a shield back in return, but he ends up safe switching into a Bubble Mantine. Thankfully, we have an incredible response in EMOLGA, so I'll get the shield and bring in EMOLGA, trying to race him to the Ice Beam, but then the game lags. We unfreeze and he's at a move. I'm not sure how much energy he's at. I call the Bubble Beam, but it's the Ice Beam, and that is absolutely heartbreaking, as now my EMOLGA has no HP remaining. We're able to take down the Mantine with a discharge, but at this point, EMOLGA is just farm for whatever he decides to bring in, and it's a Shadow Skarmory. Drifblim does have an okay matchup here. I just have to watch for a potential catch. I overfarm by 1, and he's still able to catch. I will undercharge because I want to try and hex down. Going for the undercharge, trying to hex down. I get worried about him reaching a move, and I snipe with the AERODACTYL. Unfortunately, AERODACTYL will get farmed down by Skarmory, and this is going to be tough. I think I need to bait to try and have a chance to win. I go for the Icy Wind. He calls the bait, and at this point, I think this game is over because all he has to do is shield up the Icy Wind, and then he should be able to either farm down or reach the back-to-back Sky attacks. I will shield up just in case he's not at the back-to-back, but he is very, very well played there to Firestar, and unfortunately, we are not able to get the win. Hopping to the next match, leading Shadow AERODACTYL into another Skarmory. Very bad lead, and I'm going to immediately safe switch into Drifblim. The Steel Wing Skarmory is actually staying in, so hopefully that means they're weak in the back to Drifblim, so I will decide to commit a shield. This will misalign our switch clocks as well, which is pretty nice, and then I'm going to go for the Icy Wind. They don't have to respect it, but it will get some nice chip damage in, and then they're going to respond with Shadow AERODACTYL. So they were just waiting for me to empty some energy before they brought in the AERODACTYL, and now AERODACTYL can safely one shield farm down. I will wait the switch clock and then bring in my own AERODACTYL, but I'm not going to be able to farm down before they reach a move. I'm able to get them fairly low, but you know what? We're going to trust in EMOLGA. I'm going to let this move through and go for a very aggressive farm down with EMOLGA. EMOLGA taking big damage, but able to farm down. And the opponent has Swanna in the back. This may actually be doable. I am going for the discharge. Discharge one-shots the Swanna, and back in comes the Skarmory. EMOLGA getting quite low, but we do resist the Steel Wings. Can we get to a second discharge? We get the shield. EMOLGA able to get there. EMOLGA absolutely clutching out the match. And that is a good game. Hopping to the final match, leading Shadow AERODACTYL into yet another Skarmory. Going to immediately save switch into Drifblim, but this time we are met with Altaria. So the opponent does not have a good response to a Drifblim save switch, and that is fantastic news because this means we can very safely flip switch advantage. Just in case they go for the Hail Mary Moonblast, I will commit the shield, and that's exactly what they did. So I am very happy that I committed the shield there. We're going to go for the Icy Wind, and they decide to let it through, basically recognizing that they're not going to be able to win switch. Back in comes Skarmory, and I'm going to go for the Icy Wind. I'm hoping that with this debuff, I will be able to reach a second move. Icy Wind does get them low. They bring in Dragonite, but I'm able to reach a second move. This Icy Wind will, of course, be grabbing a shield from Dragonite, and now I can bring in Shadow AERODACTYL. We do tank a Dragon Claw here, so I'm going to let this through. I'm going to get them quite low, and then bring in EMOLGA to farm down. And at this point, this game is over. We can very safely go for the discharge. Discharge is, of course, going to be vanquishing that Skarmory, and that is a good game. All in all, I had an absolute blast running the Anti-Air Brigade theme team. To be honest, it felt like every team member pulled its weight. Shadow AERODACTYL, of course, does absolutely massive fast move pressure. Drifblim is a tank, and with an energy lead, it can flip a lot of matchups. And EMOLGA, if you give it an energy lead or shield advantage, is an incredibly deadly closer in the endgame. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.